But let me come to this story now. Teachers are still engaging in corporal punishment. This despite it being abolished decades ago in South Africa. NGO Section 27 has been given the go-ahead to appeal part of a judgment on recent corporal punishment cases. 2 educators were found guilty of assaulting pupils. 1 teacher hit a grade 2 child with a PVC pipe, while a grade 5 pupil was hit across the face, which caused them to bleed from an ear. But both teachers, we understand, were given only suspended fines. So Section 27 is now arguing that the rights of the children were not taken into account within this judgment. The head of its education rights program, Faranaaz Veriava, speaks to us now to give us an update on what this means, since they've now been given the go-ahead, of course, to appeal part of a judgment on this corporal punishment case. Thank you for your time, Faranaaz, and good morning to you. First and foremost, what does this green light mean to not only you as Section 27, but to the pupils as well as to the families that have been affected by these cases?
Thank you for having me on your show, Tumelo. So basically, the appeal is against a judgment where we asked the South African Council of Educators, who are the professional body responsible for ensuring that teachers abide by their professional code of ethics. So this professional code of ethics says that you shouldn't perpetrate any kind of abuse on a learner, and if you do, you will be sanctioned. So as you said, the sanctions in this case were very lenient. We then went to court and said, please can you ask them to review their mandatory guidelines. We also want SACE to remit the sentences of these teachers back to the disciplinary body and to re-adjudicate these sentences. So the court said they must review their sanctioning mechanisms or their document, their policy document, but they refused to let us remit the sentences. In effect, the learners and the teachers are still in the classroom. So not only do they continue to be a danger to the learners who were initially abused, but at the same time, they were put back in the classroom with no anger management training, with no training on how to control a classroom or anything else. So what we are saying is there needs to be more thought going into how teachers are sanctioned, so that when they are in the classroom, they are properly equipped and they are not a danger to learners. And that the punishment really must fit the crime, which is not happening right now. And we're not only talking about the learners in question. What we are asking for is systemic change to protect all learners in the classroom. We know that at least 1 million learners a year are being corporally punished according to the general household surveys.
Faranaaz, when you talk about the leniency in terms of how the teachers were disciplined, what exactly was their punishment? What were the consequences of their actions which they received as teachers, which obviously you are not happy about, the parents are not happy about, South Africans as well who have been following this case are not happy about?
So let me just say that at Section 27, the cases we see are not, a mild case of caning or a slap on the wrist. These are really harsh cases of assault, where learners have had to go to hospital, and where in the first case that you spoke about, the teacher even went on to intimidate the learner when the learner was in hospital and said, don't tell your parents. So we're not dealing here with mild cases. The way that SACE deals with it, they have a limited number of penalties that you can impose. One is a fine of money, one is a cautionary warning, which would be appropriate where a teacher, say, verbally abuses a learner or canes them with a ruler or something. The other thing that is more effective, if the circumstances are correct, is the removal of a teacher from the teacher's role. So SACE has a register of all teachers in the country. When you are removed from that role, it means you can't be a teacher anymore. So obviously, if, for example, you're a pedophile, or if it's a very serious case of assault, as it was in this case, that is something that could happen. That sentence was imposed, but it was completely suspended, meaning it's meaningless. So what we are saying, we need to have more of a variety of sentences, including rehabilitative sentences. At the same time, we have to give the person adjudicating the sentences better discretion rather than just imposing what we are calling these cookie cutter sentences, irrespective of the nature of the offence.
Right. And it's important that you made that point, Faranaaz, about the type of cases that you are referring to here, the serious nature of this case. Hence, you made reference to also the children's rights not being considered when this judgment was handed down. Now, I want this to also appeal to parents, because if this continues, if this leniency when it comes to, teachers who still conduct corporal punishment in school continues, what are the consequences of that? What does that then mean for the environment of children in schools?
Yes, we have Section 28(2) in the Constitution that says the rights are the best interests of the learner are very important in every instance. There's obligation on government, which includes the Department of Education, to ensure the security and freedom of a learner. There's the right to respect the dignity of a learner. There's the learner's right to a basic education. There's a whole host of rights protecting the learner. And many years ago, there was even a case brought by Christian private schools saying parents have a right to have their children corporally punished if it's in their religious, it's part of their religious beliefs. And the court said, yes, parents do have a right, but that right cannot be trumped where we have such a high duty in respect of children. So again, what we are saying is that where we have policies that affect the physical and mental well-being of learners, these must consider the rights in the Constitution. And this is what's not happening in the SACE mandatory guidelines right now.
All right, we'll leave it there. I appreciate you speaking to me. Thank you so much. Faranaaz Veriava, the head of Section 27's Education Rights Program. Thank you for joining me.